Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome in to the office hours. Thanks, Doom, for almost 100 months, for 100 years. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining for some chill times of office hours, of sitting and yapping. I hope you got a little drink. I have some Earl Grey, which is not finished brewing. I was making it while the stream starting was getting ready, and all I could hear in my headphones was the laugh of Bijan, like echoing through my apartment. So here we are. Welcome in, everybody. So I realized I didn't make a big thing of this until today, where I was just like, by the way, guys, I'm doing this thing. And that was intentional. I really want this to be very low pressure and chill. I'm not trying to make a big thing of it. I'm also not trying to put pressure on myself to do this as a weekly thing. I'm really just gonna do this when I'm feeling it. And honestly, I encourage many of you to, if you're in the content grind like myself, I think it's a good way to subscribe to just putting less pressure on yourself. So I think we can all subscribe to that. I feel that's my first life lesson of the evening is the desire is there, but don't put that pressure on yourself. That's my daily affirmation. So the reason why I wanted to do something like this is I used to do a lot more content on my personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/MagiRPG, youtube.com/MissMagTech. I used to do a lot more talking head kind of content. Specifically, I did a lot of Witcher content around the Witcher games, the Witcher books, the Witcher Netflix show. I also did some Cyberpunk content, Cyberpunk Red, Cyberpunk 2077. And I enjoyed making that kind of content, but it is work. It is extra work on top of doing actual plays and all of those things. So you have to find time for everything, and sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things for other things, especially when stuff like this isn't a full-time job. It's only a hobby. Many of us in the space have day jobs, and I feel like trying to find the space to create on top of all of that can be a lot. So I hear you, to everybody who is also kind of going through that and trying to find that balance. I've yet to find it, so I cannot offer any advice just yet on finding that balance, but I'm working on it, and I feel like I've gotten better at it in the last year. Yeah, something like that. So, yes. Oh my gosh, Madison, if these are office hours, does this mean I can ask you for a better grade on my last assignment? Well, you're going to have to, show me the, me trying to take on this role. It's not working. So anyway, I basically, if y'all have things you want to yap about and talk about, you can do that. I have my own things I want to yap and talk about, but if you got things you want to talk about, happy to talk about it, related to tabletop role-playing games, streaming, Warhammer. No, not Warhammer. Warhammer's for a different night, guys. We're not talking about Warhammer tonight. But anything, really, we can talk about. These VODs are actually going to live on my YouTube channel. Though I'm streaming on MagiRPG, I'm going to upload these to my YouTube. So that is where I was going with this, with talking about content and where you want to make content and all that kind of stuff. This is all going to live on my YouTube, while to me, MagiRPG is more actual play content. Though we do other content. We've done series like Defend Your Romance, which isn't an actual play. To me, actual play stuff lives on MagiRPG, and all my other random fun MissMagTech personal stuff lives on my YouTube. So I wanted to talk about my experiences in running a TTRPG channel, as MagiRPG is something that I only started a few years ago. However, I myself have been doing streaming since 2016. So almost 10 years I have been on Twitch. And, it's funny because a lot of my friends that I have now at MagiRPG and the friends that I stream with didn't know my previous lives. My previous lives before MagiRPG. Some of you in chat and on YouTube know my previous lives. Wayward, you are one of those. Doomshy, you are one of those. Back when I would stream video games. I used to just stream as Miss MagiTech. I started my streaming career playing StarCraft 2 a very long time ago. And then I kind of grew out of StarCraft, and I transitioned to just playing various games, RPGs, like The Witcher, Divinity Original Sin 2, etc., etc. And during that time, I also dabbled in the world of actual play, tabletop role-playing games, both offline and online. I had been playing a home game with friends for a long time, and I had been doing some actual play streams on various channels. And I found myself being more enthralled with that hobby, with the hobby of doing tabletop role-playing games, of streaming and performing and doing those types of things. And so that became my main thing. That became my main shtick for a while. And I was becoming less and less enthusiastic about just streaming by myself, streaming games. So there came a time where it was like, hey, why don't I take my channel, Miss MagiTech, and just go full in on tabletop role-playing games, convert it to a TTRPG channel. So that happened in 2022, and it's been great. Everything, like, then it became not just a me thing, but it became a group effort thing, because many of my friends also got very much into it and were very enthusiastic and supportive. And I now don't look at MagiRPG as like just a Tracy Miss MagiTech thing. It's a group thing, which is really, really cool. But people look and they're like, "Wow, you have 13K followers on Twitch." Yeah, that didn't come from just like building an audience strictly through actual plays. That came through building an audience for a long time. So that brings me to like folks who are looking to start a channel of their own, whether it be from scratch, which is not my experience. My experience is from bringing in a previous audience. There's a lot of like things that go into it, and things to be considered. And a lot of what I may share here may not be the most prolific thoughts. As a matter of fact, they might not be the most original thoughts. They may be things that people have talked about in various talking heads, videos, threads on Blue Sky. These thoughts are not original, but sometimes it's nice to hear from somebody else in like a different way. I know for myself, if I'm listening to videos that give advice or chats or listen to podcasts, sometimes I may hear things that I've already heard that advice before, but it's like, oh, it was nice to hear that again. I kind of needed that reminder, or it was nice to hear that perspective from that person. So I'm just like, thoughts may not be the most original, but sometimes it's good to hear these things again, and consider these things and hear them from a different perspective. Also, I like to listen to folks who have smaller audiences, more realistic like followings and audiences. A lot of times people aspire to these channels that have millions of followers, thousands of viewers. I think it's great to have those aspirations, but it's also nice to just hear from and talk to creators who are more, I think, attainable. And I would say MagiRPG is something that can be attainable for folks who are starting. because we don't have like a shit ton of followers. We don't have like a shit ton of like, we don't make money from this, like all of those things. To me, that's more attainable if you're like looking to start. Where was I going? Oh my God, this is one thing that's going to be with the office hours. When I'm yapping, I have to remember where I was going with the thought. So my experiences is like if you're looking to start a channel, taking some introspective time to think about why you want to do it. As you know what, sometimes I need to listen to my own advice. Like this office hours thing. Like, I just kind of did it, but I had been thinking about what kind of content I wanted to make for a while. I have been thinking about, I knew I wanted to like bring content to my YouTube channel again, and I've had, since like the beginning of this year, we're now practically in July, and I'm like, oh, I really want to make like these high quality videos about TTRPGs or storytelling or Warhammer or any of these things. And I'm like, it's a lot of work to make very highly edited videos. I mean, I could hire an editor, but I have to find somebody who has like the style that I want, what I'm envisioning in my brain. And that's also like work to find an editor. So I just I kept going on and on about like these things. And I just took a minute and I was like, Tracy, just do something that is low key that you can just do for now. Like, you don't have to make it like this big thing. There's lots of creators that I aspire, like Ginny D, for example, is a D&D and tabletop creator who makes amazing videos, but it's also her full-time job. She's very creative and very entertaining, and her YouTube content is just phenomenal. And it's always like, I've always wanted to make content like that, but that is a full-time job. I'm like, girl, it's a full-time job or an editor that you don't know. So yeah, and it's like, oh, and you still want to run like Vampire the Masquerade and do all these other things? Yeah, you're not going to be able to, like, you have to be real with yourself and take that step back. And I was like, I'm just going to do like content like this. So, like take a moment of like introspection and think about if you want to like start a tabletop role-playing channel, like why you want to do it, like what you're looking for in it. And I think if you want to share your stories with the world on the internet, there's something you're looking to get out of it, and that's like valid. We're all looking to like get some sort of something out of it. If we're putting ourselves, if we're taking our games from the table to the screen, or to like the virtual, or the non-streaming space to the streaming space, there's obviously something you want to get out of it. So what is it that you want to get out of it? And I think it's totally fine to be realistic and just be like, yeah, I'm not looking to be a big channel. I just want an outlet to share myself creatively. I am just looking to connect with other creators, so I want to start with my own thing and try to connect with other people. And, that's kind of things that you can think about what you want to get out of it. But ultimately, if you're considering taking it from a non-stream space or to a recorded/stream space, there is something you're looking to get out of it. And be realistic and real. Like, it's like so many things. Like, you can have an entertaining table and be like, hey, our table is like very entertaining. I think we can bring something of entertainment to the world. So let's do it. Or I have a background in acting, so therefore, I think I can bring this unique perspective to my storytelling and make it really good. All of these things. Yes, that's, we need a Magi clone, is what we need to get all of this content and all the things done, because it ain't easy. The other thing that I think about when it comes to actual plays and like the things that you're looking to get out of it, like I'm looking to make money. Well, yeah, I think we're past. I think most people, I would like to assume good intent, that most people, when they get into streaming or like actual play content, we're not looking at money because none of us make any money. I would like to hope that I feel like I don't need to say that, and I realize I'm peaking quite a bit. So I'm gonna just turn my volume down a bit. I would like to think we're past, so I don't need to have that whole money discussion. But if somebody wants me to have that money discussion, I can. You're not gonna make money. The other thing I think that's big to consider is like the quality of what you're putting out to the world. That's also like a big thing. Yes, same, girl. I'm spending money too, like, because I'm also like throwing money into things for this. Like, oh, I need a quick like asset for something. I'm gonna just buy something for it. It's like, yeah, you're gonna put money into it than get money from it. The quality is also important in that I feel like something I notice with a lot of actual plays, and I'm not saying like MagiRPG is like the pinnacle beacon of this. Like, there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit we can improve. But the big thing is like always like audio and video quality, I feel, and it can be very difficult to keep attention on a stream where the audio and video quality isn't the best. And this is not an easily accessible thing for a lot of people because good audio and video does require money, investment. But I think it's an investment worth considering before like diving into things because, again, this is not like prolific or profound advice that I'm sharing here, but I see it a lot. I see it a lot with actual plays where it's like it's very hard to. There will always be dead air in like the role play and conversation because most actual plays are virtual via call. Not a lot are in person. Though those who do are blessed to have people in person sitting at a table recording. I'm jealous because I can only do that for like special events. So I'm jealous. But for those, like 80%, 90% of actual plays that you see are obviously virtual via call. There will always be the dead air, but like the awkward silences, the pauses, that's always going to happen just with like the latency of playing games online. So that'll always happen if you're live streaming. But what can be helped is the audio, and the video. And so investing in a good microphone, I would say first, and then a good camera or a good lighting. Yes, thank you, Stormbeard. Good lighting is great. So my first thought would be like, okay, like I want to do this actual play stream. The first thing I'm going to invest in is a good mic. And by good mic, a USB mic is fine. But the thing with the USB mics is like, I see people like, I bought a USB mic, it's great. But you need to like eat that mic, honey. You need to take the microphone and put it up to your face. Because if it's sitting on your desk over here, the audio quality ain't gonna be good. So you gotta eat that mic, keep it in your face, and that'll definitely improve. And then then the next thing, okay, I'm gonna get good lighting. Get yourself a little ring light. Get yourself a couple of lights. It doesn't have to be. It's so funny when my day job when I work. Whenever I'm having a video call, people, the normies, I like to say, the normies always love to compliment like my lighting, my setup. They're like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, this stuff all came from like years of streaming. So it's like, I get it. Like, it's not going to be the most amazing thing when you first start. But don't be like a Craigums who doesn't eat his microphone when he sometimes. I'm just kidding, Craig. We're not calling you out on stream. But yes, so this stuff will come in time, but it's definitely good to think about that, like, to start. All right, think about it to start before you dive straight in. And the other thing is, like, maybe like if you want to do your own thing and start your own stream, I get it. It might be good trying to reach out to like other actual play groups and seeing if you can do some stuff with them before like doing your own thing. That's how I started. I was playing my first ever streamed actual play was on Roll For It, and we played World of Darkness. We didn't play Vampire. This was before Vampire. We played straight World of Darkness. We were changelings in a World of Darkness game. And then I played Vampire the Masquerade. I played City of Mist. I played Pathfinder, Kids on Bikes, Alien RPG, like all of these not on MagiRPG. These were all on other channels before starting on MagiRPG. So, yes. Kids on Bikes mentioned, great TTRPG. Love Kids on Bikes. Craig Cregums in chat is also a big Kids on Bikes fan. I loved Kids on Bikes, and I loved Alien RPG. Ooh, I played a lot of good RPGs. Played Dune, the Dune RPG. Yeah, I gotta say, quick aside, everybody, my little TTRPG career, I achieved 2 dream goals of mine. And you're gonna be like, oh, what are those, Tracy? What are your 2 dreams? I achieved, you're gonna laugh, I achieved true peak, like, in my career when I got to play in a Dune TTRPG of all femmes, playing an all Bene Gesserit Dune TTRPG, and I got to play in an all-femme Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory game where we played all Sisters of Battle. So I truly peaked. I could retire at this point because I got to play. I got to play in 2 games of all-femme players of a Bene Gesserit Dune game and a Sisters of Battle Wrath and Glory game. The Dune one was on Cybernation Uncensored, which was a crew that I play with for Cyberpunk. I used to play a lot of Cyberpunk with them, and then we transitioned to Dune, and that was really fun. I'll have to share those in the Discord sometime because that was really fun. And then the Sisters of Battle game. It was called Conventual Warfare on my friend Sheepy's channel, who's no longer is running. He actually stopped doing TTRPGs. He retired, and he ran an all-femme Sisters of Battle group, and I was the canoness. I was the leader because all the other girls, they were like not as love them all. Not as into Warhammer, so they're like. So Sheepy was like, Tracy, you're gonna be the canoness. I was like, yeah. Yes, and I killed a PC. I put one on a penitent engine. My dear Safi, I'm sorry, but you were a heretic. And Syrinx got left behind on the planet because we had to leave because it was getting invaded by chaos as per usual. What the fuck else? So yeah. Little tea break. Wait. Hoot. I have to read your comment here. I just had surgery today and read up to Leto being knocked out right before they took me to anesthesia. Bad timing. Duna's so sick. Looking at the TTRPG today. Oh my gosh. Hopefully the surgery went well. That is a great timing. And the Dune books are amazing. I read them in college, and I had no idea what I was reading at the time. Just my college roommate, her name was Jessica, and she was a big fan of Dune, and obviously her favorite character was Jessica. and she's like, oh, you like sci-fi, you should read Dune. And I was like, okay. And then I read it, and I was so confused. So I watched the 1984 Dune movie, and I actually now that there are better Dune films out, I don't recommend this. But years ago, when people would be like, I want to read Dune, my recommendation was to actually watch the Dune movie, even the 1984 movie, because it's not a great movie, but it gives you a bit of like context of what the hell this world is. So that you can go into the book and be like, okay, I kind of understand like what's going on. The movie is not good. Sting in his wing speedo. It's not good, but I feel like it helped me. I had to watch the movie to help myself understand the book. And honestly, I think it's like, look, it's worth watching just for the experience. If you're like trying to get into Dune, like I was like, just watch it. The 2000s version, oh yes, the like the miniseries with James McAvoy, yeah. Also not great. I wouldn't like that's one I don't go out of my way to recommend. But like if you're like hardcore getting into the Dune universe, then I would like be like, yeah, you should watch it. But yes, so. And we gotta watch Jodorowsky's Dune, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. Guys, I watched that documentary, and Chris, we have to watch it with Bijan. Like, Jodorowsky, forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. That man is wild. He had this plan to make this, like, insane Dune movie. And the documentary is so good. This guy, like, I watched it, I was like, what the hell? It's so good. He wanted the emperor to, Salvador Dali, to be the emperor. And I'm like, what the, like, it works. Like, his son was going to be Paul. And he, like, put his son through, like, all this training to be like, you are going to become Paul Atreides. And his poor son is like, okay, Dad. Yes, Holy Mountain. I need to watch his other stuff, honestly. After watching that documentary, because I've never watched any Jodorowsky stuff, and I just like, I'm like, I now need to watch this man's stuff. It's so like out there. It is not my style, really, at all, but I need to watch it. Yes, it's heavy. That's why I'm like, I need to watch it when I'm in a good mental state. You know how that is. I'm like, sometimes there's some movies, I'm like, I want to watch that, but I need to be in a good headspace to watch that. Yeah, Tracy has style. I don't know if I do. Have you finished Stormlight Archive? You started Wind and Truth. What the fuck, Wayward? You're breezing through. I have not finished. I paused my read through of Rhythm of War. I think I have about 20 hours left of Rhythm of War. I don't know. My brain was like not in it for a while. I need to get back into it. It's very like, I want to finish it, and I'm going to finish it. I probably am going to actually finish it, but I took a pause, and I've been reading through a couple of Warhammer books as like a bit of a palate change for myself. I'm just finishing. I have like 30 minutes left on the Saint Celestine book, Celestine the Living Saint. Let's see, Audible. Yeah, I'm on like the last chapter. I've got about 25 minutes left of Celestine the Living Saint by Andy Clark, narrated by the voice actor who is Minthara in Baldur's Gate 3. And I can't not hear Minthara when I am listening to this audiobook, but she's amazing. She is amazing. I realize I'm also like shaking my entire desk with my enthusiasm. But once I finish, I'm going to get back into Rhythm of War and try to finish that. Or not Rhythm of War. Yeah, Rhythm of War, and then Wind and Truth. I might take me a bit. But oh yes, Soul Hunter. I did, yes, and I knew Raphael from Baldur's Gate 3 also narrated some books. So that's on my list. That's on my list. Look, I've been thinking about the Night Lords, okay? I've been thinking about Conrad Kurz. But that's a discussion for another night. That's a discussion for another night. I'm like, maybe I do need a Night Lord boyfriend, guys. Maybe I don't need a Black Templar boyfriend. Maybe I need... Okay, so that's my little book side note. I'm bringing it back. We're bringing it back to tabletop role-playing stuff and channel stuff. So, like, going back to building a channel and everything like that, like, I don't know. I feel like the stuff that I've shared thus far, it's, again, not super prolific, but it's just like, man, these things, I see it happen often, and I'm like, okay, what are some things that can be improved before, like, starting a channel and before, like, getting into it? And I really do think, like, introspection and, like, planning is really, really important. And I had this thought recently with, like, when it comes to running an actual play, what the, like, having a cast and people at your table, it's not really like a hot take or anything like that, but I feel that, like, most of my experience, I've very much more enjoyed playing games. I feel like I have better chemistry, and the chemistry that is resonating with an audience is much better with people that I am already very friendly with and, like, good friends with. And it's like the difference between, because I've done a lot of actual plays with strangers or people that I've just met or, like, vaguely know, who I am acquaintanced with. So somebody's be like, hey, running a Shadowrun game on this channel. I've always wanted to play Shadowrun, so I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. And I'm playing with a bunch of people I've never met, or I've only just met, had a session 0 with, et cetera, et cetera. And some people are very naturally good at just, like, you know, you have that background you're naturally more charismatic and good at talking with people and making friends and things like that. I'm not as good at that, so I find myself that I struggle a bit more with like putting on a good show with people that I don't know as well. And I think, like, for MagiRPG, a lot of our success, I feel personally, has to do with, like, the chemistry we have as friends at the table. We're all super comfortable with each other. We know each other very well. We all hang out outside of, like, playing games together. And that, I feel, echoes how we perform to people. And I'm like, does that make it better? Question mark? Like I don't. Maybe? I don't know. No, I don't think it makes it better, because the other thing is, like, I would not have met my OG Vampire the Masquerade crew, my Pod by Night crew. We were all strangers. I did not know them, and they have now become my best friends because we played Vampire and World of Darkness together. Like, and I would not be into VTM the way I am now if not for that group, and being, like, we were all brought together by one friend, my dear friend Maggie, who was like, hey, want to play? And I was like, sure. And I played with a bunch of people I didn't know, and they're now, like, all my best friends. And so there's some merit to that, but I think that is more rare, because there's also other tables that I've played with, and, like, we didn't vibe as well. And so it was just like, oh, you know, they're good people, or, like, we've remained acquaintances, but, you know, we didn't really vibe. And so it is a more rare thing to just jump at a table with strangers or, you know, people, acquaintances, and, like, really hit it off. But I think the performance you put on is a lot better with people who you already have that chemistry with. So other things just to consider and think about. It's things that I've been thinking about, and it's like, I'm like, man, does that bring a better experience for an audience if you're looking to put your stuff out there, if you have, like, that natural chemistry with the people you're playing with? And maybe it does, you know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But there are some folks who, like, are just, you know, trained performers, so they are much better at it than me. But most of us, we're just people. We're just little nerds trying to share our hobbies with the world. And despite the charisma that I put on a camera, I actually have a very hard time socializing in real life. So it's very easy for me to talk to a camera and talk to people in Twitch chat. Oh, Maggie, you're here. Hi, Maggie, who I was just talking about. It's much easier for me to talk, but like I actually have a hard time socializing with people IRL. It's another like introspective thing I've been doing lately, because every once in a while I will go out with my family, and when I go out and like meet people, I notice these things about myself that I have a very hard time keeping up a conversation with people. It's like I'm like, man, where have my social skills gone? People I'm like, people can talk about themselves, and I like to listen, but I have a hard time talking about myself to people, and I'm like, man, what is social skills? What is conversation? It's very interesting things I've been thinking about in my recent like introspective days. Things that I'm trying to notice about myself, and talking to people and meeting people is hard. And I want to get better at it. Is what I have concluded. Listening is one of the skills a lot of people don't have. That's a good point. I do like to listen, and I'm a very active listener. This is something one of my coworkers told me. She's like, man, I love like when I talk to you, because you're just like, I nod, I'm an active. I make it seem like I'm very present in a conversation. So that's, I guess, a good thing to have. A good thing to have. Yes, I did. I guess I did summon you, Maggie. I was just talking about the difference between playing with strangers or people you just met versus playing with friends, and the difference in chemistry and things. And like one of the very rare exceptions to like playing with strangers, I would say, is our Pod by Night like VTM group. In that, like, we were all strangers when we first started. At least most of us were. Maggie, you knew everybody, but we were all strangers, and that like we just like hit it off really well. Yes. So, yeah. Very interesting things to think about and consider for your own selves, because I've been thinking about it. Also, if you're doing stuff with your friends, find out what each people's like skills are, like who's good at what, and try to play off of each other's like strength and weaknesses. Like me, I am like the planning organization girly. I'm hyper organized, and I like to plan and organize. I'm not as good at cold reaching out to people. Mandy, for example, in chat, she is very good at cold reaching out to people, or just like, hey, so like that is their skill, and it's like, okay, that is their strength, and my strength is like organization and getting people on track, and like if people didn't, if people forgot to share their availability for a show, I will be the one on top of people like, hey, make sure to get your availability, or like, oh, I'm gonna like send out the calendar invites for all of the sessions. I'm on top of that shit. While Mandy, for example, is like, I'm good at like reaching out to people. So yeah. Anyway, like think about those things and be like, okay, these are my strengths. Maybe there are things you want to get better at. So it's like, okay, I actually want to get better at reaching out to people, so I'm gonna like challenge myself to do this. But maybe I can lean on this person who is good at that skill. And maybe somebody's like, I'm super disorganized and I want to get better at organization. Lean on me. I'll help you make sure you can get your life together and get yourself organized. So yes. Now, Violet, where am I losing my voice? Do you do things different when you play privately in a closed table versus that same table, but you're live streaming for an audience? Yeah, I think there's definitely subtle differences. between an offline game versus an online game. The biggest one is just that feeling that you have to always be on, knowing that you are always being perceived at all times, which keeps yourself like, it's a bit more exhausting, I feel, and thinking that you have to always fill the air with something. If you need to take a quick pause, you feel that pressure more when you're on a stream. And everybody, people have different streaming styles. And some people it's okay to have a pause on stream if you need to. And others will be like, that's if you're having that kind of thing, it takes away from the overall viewing experience. So there's a lot of different things. I think the big, those are just some of the big, more obvious things. It honestly really depends on the person and the type of story you're trying to tell. Because when I think about a story, a VTM story that I would tell on camera versus a VTM story I would tell at home with my friends or off camera, I think I would just feel less pressure to keep a certain pace. I find the pacing very important in my games. And so you may feel less of that pressure at a home game because of that. And if two people want to have a one-on-one, I'm like, you guys, you take all the time you want. If the rest of the crew wants to get a little snack while you're having your one-on-one, they can get up and get a snack. But there's that pressure. There's just, honestly, there is always a pressure. And even if you are we are the most laid back, chill stream of all time, where no pressure, you will still have some semblance of pressure. It'll always be there if you're playing a game on stream. Super excited to go to Darkness Emergent Atlanta. This will be my first LARP. Hey, welcome. Any general advice for TTRPG players going to a LARP? Ooh, yeah, because I've been there. That was me, a year and a half ago. And I would say there is some similarities. There's some similarities in the character building, but the truth is I feel that the LARP experience is quite different from the tabletop experience. I do like that. To me, when I go to a Darkness Emergent LARP, I still feel like I'm in the V5 world, the canon world, because they do like to introduce canon characters, some levels of plot that is canon within the world, and I like that. I like sticking to canon. Not always, let's be real. But I like, the existing canon of World of Darkness, and I feel like I'm in it when I'm at the LARP. But I also feel like the roles and checks aren't as present at the LARP. There are instances where you will have to make certain checks and rolls, and you do chops, like a rock, paper, scissors style. But I've done it maybe 5 times in the 3 Darkness Emergent LARPs that I've gone to. It is not done a lot. The LARP is mostly vibes. Yes, that's a good way to put it. It's all about the vibe. It's not so much about the... if you had a character sheet and you lost it, you could still play and have a good time without a character sheet. I barely used my character sheet. It's nice to know in the back of your head what disciplines you have in case you need to use a discipline, but I also very rarely use disciplines. I feel like the most used disciplines at a LARP is Offuscate or Auspex. People have used other disciplines, but knowing that I have a sense the unseen, great to know. Just in case I think that somebody's listening in on a conversation, I can activate Sense the Unseen. But that's really like, it really is about the vibe. So bring a character with vibes. As a matter of fact, when you're building characters at Darkness Emergent, you do, like, they do encourage making a character sheet, but you can like put your character together just purely on vibes alone, and be all set to go. So yes. It's very interesting. I would love to talk more about LARP stuff in future of these office hours, but I don't have actually a lot of LARP experience. There's a really cool LARP happening this week that I wanted to go to, Drakenfest in Pennsylvania. I just couldn't take the days off from work. I am doing far too many events for the rest of the year. I cannot put another one on my plate. So, and it's like during the week. It's not like if it was on a weekend, maybe I could. I think it goes into the weekend, but it's like happening right now. And I don't have a lot of LARP experience. So I can't really talk a lot about LARP. We've been to every LARP that I've also been to. Yes, so we're basically at like 3 LARPs. And they've all been Darkness Emergent, which is funny because I talked to the DE staff and they're like, you should try other LARPs. I want to try other LARPs. I just haven't gone to any yet. So I do want to talk about some of my LARP experience at some point. I want to talk about my storyteller LARP experience because I got to do my first storytelling at a LARP. And I would like to talk about that, but like, general LARP experience, I would say my friend Syrinx has a lot more experience. She's going to a LARP like literally this weekend, and she's like a LARPer, like straight up. So she's looking to make more LARP content down the road. So if you check out my friend Syrinx, if you want to get some good LARP content or ask her questions about LARP, because she's got the experience more than me as far as LARP goes. But I got the tabletop experience, that's for sure. So I'd love to talk about that. Yes, it is a whole week, like camping. Yes, and it's camping. Oh, I'm going to be real also with like LARPs with camping. Darkness Emergent has also spoiled me in that I like being at a hotel in like a closed venue. Bro, I can't even imagine. We have like a heat wave on the East Coast right now. I don't even want to know what it's like right now at Drakenfest, how hot it must be. No, thank you. I would maybe like to experience a camping LARP at least once, maybe. But I am not an outdoors girly. I'm bougie and high maintenance, and therefore, I don't know. But I would like the experience. So we'll see. Maybe one day. I'm in my 30s now, which isn't old, but I feel like in my 20s, I was much more gung-ho about those types of things. And now I am like, I would like my hotel bed and my hot shower and a nice cup of coffee in the morning. These are the small things in life that I must request. Yes, it's so true. Oh my God. Yeah. There are the bougie, like the glamping bougie tents. That's true. So I could be convinced. That's what I'm saying. Like, I probably would splurge on a glamping. Like, so that's why I'm like, I could maybe do this one day. But yeah. I feel you, Jenny. I would love to get into LARP. There's a near local one that runs monthly, but I'm a bit self-conscious. I feel you. That's another thing I'm not good at giving advice about is like doing local events because I'm fucking horrible at it. Would love to do more local events, but I have social anxiety and I have a really, really, really hard time going to an event by myself, showing up and saying, hey, I'm here to LARP or I'm here to play Warhammer. I have so badly wanted to go to local Warhammer events, but I just, and it's not even the whole like, oh my God, like a girl going to an event. I don't give a shit about that. It's literally just like, I just have a hard time like walking into an event by myself and sitting down and saying, hi, I'm Tracy, nice to meet you. Like it is, I don't know what the deal is. It's like, I talked to my therapist about it. I would love to do like a local LARP, but it's so hard to go by myself. So I would have to drag a friend, but most of my friends are not very close. They live like the friends that I can drag to these types of things live like an hour plus away. So it's very hard to drag them out to a local event. So that is the difficult thing. So I feel you. I have no advice on it because I'm also struggling with it. Of just like going to a local event. So you know what? If anybody in chat, if y'all have advice on going to a local event of like a hobby, either like a hobby event or a LARP event, but you don't have anybody to go with and you're going by yourself. I will say I conquered it a bit. Last year, I went to my local tabletop convention, which is it's like a small tabletop gaming convention. And I volunteered to run Cyberpunk Red at my local tabletop convention. And that was like a big step for me because I didn't know anybody at the local tabletop convention. I just knew they were looking for GMs. And I was like, I will GM Cyberpunk. And it went really well. I ran 2 Cyberpunk games for 2 different groups, and it was fine. Like everybody had a great time, and it was really good. And the thing, I didn't make any friends from it. Like I showed up, I ran the events, and then I like went home. And I wasn't putting any like expectations on myself because it was like a local event. It was like an event that's like 30 minutes from me, like 20, 30 minutes from me. So like deep down, like I would have loved to have just like met somebody there that'd be like, hey, you're a friend. Yeah, you're a friend. You want to be a friend? Or like, hey, we have the same interests, you know? Because a lot of people that I know around me aren't into like tabletop. Like I may have some, you know, I have friends and family who I spend time with, but nobody who's into the same hobbies as me that are local. So I had gone to this local event hoping that I could maybe make some friends, but I didn't. And I tried to not set an expectation too high of like, Tracy, you need to go to this event and you need to make at least one friend. Or like, you know, get the contact info of somebody so you can keep in touch kind of thing. I didn't get that. And that's okay. It was still like a good step for me to get out of my comfort zone and go to an event and do something local. I still felt proud is what it was. At the end of the day, I still felt proud. But I would like to like make friends, like local D&D groups and things like that. I had considered doing, and I just haven't, because it's hard. It's hard to just go and put yourself out there. I don't know what the mental block is. It's hard to explain, because I tried to explain to my therapist, but I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just there. So yeah, we just need to act like kids again. They meet at the park for the first time and say, hi, want to be friends? And boom. Honestly, yeah. It's true. Like, hi. But it's like, I think there's such a weird standard now with like meeting people. It's like, what is the ulterior motive? Like, you're saying hi to me. And it's like, what do you want? Especially, you know, if it's somebody of like the opposite gender. It's like, what do you want from me? And it's like, you get all like, what's your ulterior motive? Male. Yeah. So things are way too transactional. It's honestly, you're right, Tabine. Sorry. Male. Silence male. And that yeah. This is why I want to join a convent, everybody. This is why I want to join the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. See, that's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do, Madison, is that just whip out my phone. I've been collecting pictures of Henry Cavill. Do you want to see? Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's the way to go. Almost sound like a Lothian priestess. Yes, that silence mail, or that like the mail is an inside joke from an old campaign I used to play in. A drow Loth campaign. So yeah, good chats, everybody. Who among us hasn't joined a Jesuit sisterhood here or there? I mean, really, truly, you know? Yeah, I'm telling Paul Atreides to be quiet. Silence. Just, man, what I would give to have the voice, you know? What I wouldn't or would give. You know, what I would give to have just the Gom Jabbar. Put people through the trials, you know, through the tests and tribulations. But yeah, it's a lot of good things, good thoughts here, everybody. Like, I'm telling you, I love self-reflection. I feel like it's so interesting to like look at myself and notice these things about myself and be like, yeah, this is something I realize I struggle with, like meeting people. I love like looking at those things and analyzing and be like, but why? What is it about that makes it difficult? And how is that person good at it, but I'm not? Like, Madison, you're good at it. How are you good at it, but I'm not? What am I lacking? Good way to meet people. Hold on, my thing is blocking this for some reason. Good way to meet people and make friends. Go to a bar in Austin and have your friend shove you at another person from conversation. Hey, like, been there before. Look, that is a one way to do it. I remember I was at Ren Fair, the NorCal Ren Fair, and I saw these two Castlevania cosplayers. I don't know if it was you, Chris, or somebody else in chat. We saw these Castlevania cosplayers, and I loved their cosplays, but I like it was with you, and I was like, girl, you go to conventions like 24/7. For some reason, I had like, I think maybe they were cute, and maybe that's why I was kind of scared to say something. But I was like, I want to like take a picture with them, but I'm kind of scared. And Chris is like, oh, I'll just do it. And he just walks up and is like, hey, can she take a picture? I'm like, girl, why? Why are you like this? That was good times. The Castlevania cosplayers at Ren Fair. And I'm like, why can't I just talk to them? My issue of meeting people is thinking I'm too much or too annoying. I feel that, honestly. I feel that also. You're worried. Like, if I talk to people who aren't like into like streaming or tabletop stuff, and they ask about, you know, what I do, they ask about my gaming stuff, I'm very vague with it, because I'm like, if I just go off talking about like my gaming stuff, they're not gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I'm like, I keep it very vague. I'm like, yeah, I do this like streaming thing. Yeah, I stream video games. It's like, because if I'm gonna go off, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? I'm like, and this is too much to explain. I'm like, I can't explain this to a normal person. I'm like, this is too much. Actual question from Jenny. How did you prepare for Ancestral Blood, choosing antagonists and plot lines? Good question. How did I prepare for Ancestral Blood? The way that I prepared for my VTM Chronicle Ancestral Blood was I talked to my players first, and this is just the way I did it. I'm not saying this is the way to do it, but my players suggested the idea, the concept of the Chronicle, of what if we played a family of vampires? And I was like, that's a great idea. So like, okay, let's build on this. Like, how can we do this family of vampires thing? And one of them suggested we could be like a rich snobby family. Oh, we could be like Succession. And I had not watched HBO's Succession at the time. And so I was like, okay, cool. Let's like get some inspiration. We all watched the first episode of Succession together. They had already watched it. It was my first time watching it as a storyteller. And I was like, yeah, this is great. And I just kind of cooked from there. And it was like, that was my antagonist, because the main antagonist in that show is their father. And so I knew I wanted a family of kindred embraced by an antagonistic father. And honestly, wasn't an original concept. It came from Succession. And I've said this, I just posted this recently. That was like my muse and my inspiration. And I obviously built from there. The Chicago by Night book helped me a lot also with building, like specifically like some of the La Sombra plot lines in Chicago by Night. Let me wind it back a bit. The Chicago by Night book helped. I knew I wanted the antagonist to be their rich, asshole, evil father. But I was like, we're going deeper, because I wanted it to be a bloodline of importance. I'm like, why are they rich? Why are they powerful? Because it's in their blood. And I wasn't going to just make them descendant of Hardestat, like, because I knew it was going to be a Ventrue family. And I was like, well, we're not going the Hardestat route. Hardestat ended up being another villain. But I was like just looking up like powerful Ventrue bloodlines that go all the way back to, Ventrue himself. And I had saw Lysander, and I was like, ooh, like Spartan, Methuselah bloodline. I'm kind of liking this. I like the vibes. I like just I just happen to like it. And that is where that all spawned. And I just kind of just built from there. I built like their power and their status came from this ancient Methuselah bloodline. Knowing that I had like a Tremere, a Ventrue, and a Malkavian player, I built off of that. And it's just like, I think the players helped a lot with helping build from there. And, having a muse really helped. Having something to be like my North Star, which was Succession, but then like having the Greater World of Darkness, it was very, Greater World of Darkness plots and canon tie-ins and all of that was really, really cool. So, yeah. That was really cool. And it was really cool to build all of that out. And I jokingly say this all the time, but I was like, I love that story so much. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get a cool story like that again. But I think the next thing that I'm working on, the next story, I think is going to be interesting. It's going to be very different, but it will be, it'll be really good. So, wait, Shaban is a descendant of Hardestat? That's so funny. Oh my gosh, I love that. In my Ancestral Blood Chronicle, one of the like anti-hero villain characters who was like a foil for my Ventrue player was a descendant of Hardestat. Yes, and the cast chemistry really does help. So, also, actual question, even though I've worked in TTRPGs for a few years now, how does one go about getting into a show, being a cast? Would it be better to start with a one-shot or a 2 to 3 episode show? Honestly, either is fine. You'll probably get a similar experience from a one-shot versus like a short series. One-shots are always like very low pressure and easy. It can be a lot to squeeze. Like a lot of times when people want to run one-shots, it can be a lot to squeeze into one session. So it's nice to keep it in like a 2 or 3 episode mini series. But So I would say either is probably good. Yes, you don't know a character until the third episode. I would agree with what Stormbeard has said. It does take a couple of episodes to like get into a character. So if you're looking to build a character that you can truly invest in, like that requires, I think, a longer term campaign or chronicle. But for something to just like understand and see if this is something you enjoy doing, yeah, like a 2 or 3 episode series is probably better. And just putting yourself out there, again, the hard thing to do, reaching out to folks, if you have some sort of streams and things you can reference to, that helps. And you know, just sharing your own experience. Sam, I know you work in TTRPG stuff, so it's like I work for, you know, I've worked in this industry for a bit, and now I want to get into like the actual play space. Reaching out to people about that, I think, is a good way to pitch yourself and experiment a bit with it and see if it's something you enjoy doing. If you enjoy playing in an actual play, yeah, it's worth like putting yourself in that and see if it's something you enjoy, which I think you would. I think you have the chops and like you would be very entertaining in an actual play space. So I would give it a shot and try to do something that's more than just a one shot, I would say. Yes. Technical directing and stream management is a whole, like, that's actually something I would love to talk more about. I know we talked a little bit about like camera and mic and all that stuff earlier. I think it would be great to get into that more in a later episode, because there's a lot that can be said about that. Like the production value of a stream and the quality. And there's a lot that you can do. And there's a lot of resources that I think people don't realize you can get for free. Like, for the love of God, you don't have to use Zoom for your calls. This is not me throwing subtle shade at my darling friends that I play TTRPGs with that still use Zoom. There are other free resources you can use. But yeah, we can. A few of my friends still use Zoom, and I love them. I can't use Zoom, and honestly, even using Discord has its flaws. So there are other things we can talk about at a future later date. That would be useful, and then things like overlays, music. Oh Lord, there's a lot that art. There's a lot of things to consider, and we can talk about that because you might have noticed at MagiRPG we have all of those things. We have music, overlays, intro, trailers, art, starting soon in BRB, having somebody to adjust the audio, and yes, Video Ninja. That is exactly what I would recommend for everybody. It's got a slight learning curve, for if you have like no experience. There's a slight learning curve, but once you get into it, it is the way to go. One thing I've noticed is a lot of friends use Zoom for church. It's almost impossible for people to talk at the same time because of the way it works. Yeah, I noticed that a little bit too, like the latency or something is a little off sometimes with Zoom. Discord, I do think, is a little bit better. The only thing with Discord is Zoom now at least allows you to individually get the source for each video. Which is a big thing for tabletop productions. And again, would love to go more in depth on this in a different stream, because I think it's a lot. Zoom at least has that now. Discord doesn't have that, so that's like one issue you may run into. But Discord, unlike Zoom, Discord, the person who's running the stream you can individually adjust audios and things like that. So if somebody is like peaking super loud and they're really, really loud, and you are running the show, you can just turn them down a little bit. That's always nice to have too. So, but Discord video has its issues. So, yes. Yes, please DM me about it, Med. Yeah, Riverside, also great. For my Cyberpunk podcast, we use Zencaster, which is also great. So, yes, we would love to talk straight production, because I know lots of people have questions about that. And again, there's tons of videos, there's tons of content, but sometimes it's nice to just have a little yap about it and just talk about what my experience is and what has worked and what hasn't worked for us. Overlays are great to have. Art is great to have. Art isn't a make or break for an actual play, but I do think, like, I'm getting ahead of myself. I really want to talk about this in like a more in-depth thing. I actually think art is very important to have for your characters. That's like my slightly spicy take. I'm like, not that it's like a need, but I really think it helps. Yes, the next one we could talk prod, and maybe I'll bring Mr. Stormbeard to the table. I'll bring him on the mic, because Stormbeard is our go-to production person at MagiRPG. So he has a lot of great insights. And then maybe, yes, Coldrake, maybe we'll bring the Momobi to the stage to talk about art, because art's a great thing to talk about too for TTRPGs. I have so many commissions of Siobhan. I'm the same. I commissioned so much art for my previous TTRPG characters, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it. Every once in a while, I get an art that I commission that doesn't quite hit, and I'm like, oh, like, but obviously I'll still like pay the artist and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, this didn't quite hit the way I wanted it to, but I like still like appreciate the art and I will enjoy it. But when I see an artist I like, I'm like, I need to commission you to do my character. I love throwing money at artists. I did it a lot more when I played more D&D. I commissioned so much art of my D&D characters, and I had to like stop myself, because I was getting like addicted. It's like tattoos. It's like, I don't have any tattoos, but my tattoo friends, you know, you tattoo people, you know, you're like, once you get one, you keep going. And I'm like, y'all just can't stick with just one tattoo. You got to keep getting more tattoos. And that's an expensive hobby to have too. Mandy, yeah, it's like Mandy, like planning like 7 different tattoos. And it's like, that's how it is with commissioning art of your TTRPG characters. It's like, you commission one, you're like, oh my God, I love this. And then you're like, I see another artist I like, I'm going to commission them. And I had to actually stop myself. I'm like, Tracy, you need to like, stop. Yeah, so I feel that. Tabine, that is exactly why I don't have a tattoo, because I have commitment issues. Real talk. And I don't like needles, so I probably would cry. But yeah, I like the non-permanent. That's why I make my little temporary tattoos that I bring to my LARP and stuff. I'm like, I got a little tattoo of my VTM clan, but it's temporary. I don't think I could permanently get a tattoo, but that's all right. I know a lot of people love to get tattoos, which is cool. One tattoo is like 60 miniatures. Truly, Jimmy, you know. You know. So, yes. Oh my gosh, Sam. Sam. That's funny. It's good to see some of the homies in chat, by the way. All the friends. It's good to see y'all. It's good to see y'all. I just gotta say thanks for being here. You did. You do. Alex, I know you have the Zemitzi tattoo, which is fucking cool. I think I had told some of my friends, like, I think the only things I would get for tattoos would be things that I know will not be just a phase for me, like Lord of the Rings or like Zelda, things that have been with me since I was a child. And I'm like, those things are not just like, if I had gotten a StarCraft tattoo, which, fun fact, Sam, you probably laugh at this, DreamHack Austin went out on 6th Street, and me and my friends were like very close to getting StarCraft tattoos. If I had gotten a StarCraft tattoo, I would have regretted that shit. But like at the time, that was my life. And I would not want a Zerg tattoo on me. I'm sorry. I don't want a Zerg tattoo. I'm glad I didn't get no Zerg tattoo. I had a little Zerg tattoo. I'm glad I just had my little cute Zerg temporary tattoos that I wore at BlizzCon. Glad I didn't get that permanent. Full Henry Cavill back tattoo. Anywhere but on 6th Street. Yeah. That was a, like 10 years ago, Tracy was ready to get a Zerg tattoo. Yeah, I know, Wayward, we were talking about that. Hey, thanks for the sub gifts. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll probably only keep this another like 10 or so minutes. I don't want to make these too long, and we've been streaming for like an hour and a half. I think an hour and a half is about what I want to keep these at, but this is fun. This is chill. I really enjoy this. I like just sitting and having a little Earl Grey and a little talk. The question is, should I add like some background music for the next one? I've kept it very quiet because I noticed this trend now with watching, like, so when I'm thinking about how I listen to content, I like to listen to podcasts while I'm cleaning, and I would anticipate that folks, if they were going to watch the VOD of this, they probably would have it, like, they're not going to be sitting on the couch like, okay, maybe some people, Miss Magitech's office hours, I'm going to sit on the couch and listen. They probably will have it on in the background while they're cleaning, cooking. That's what I do, at least. So I am like, do I put audio on, or like put like do I put music on in the background, or do I just keep it quiet? Because when I listen to podcasts, there is no audio. Music, I should say. So I'm debating. So Warhammer and T, you're basically qualified for UK citizenship. Yeah, I know. Maybe it would be easier for me to get my Warhammer if I did. Cooking, yeah. Wait, that's a big throwback. That most people don't even know about the Magi cooking streams. That's a throwback. The deep cut. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I was on our live stream fails, the subreddit, for setting off the fire alarm on my cooking stream. That's the deep Magi lore. Would you like a music or no music poll for chat? Yes. Let's put a poll. Do we want music? Do we want like chill music? I'm not saying we're gonna be playing like I'm trying like electric. I'm like, I can't even fucking think right now. And also music that I can play on stream. Because God, I remember the days when there was no worries about what music you would stream on Twitch, and now there kind of is, and I've been so out of it for so long that I'm like, fuck, I don't even know like where to get music to stream. Obviously, we have our TTRPG music. I could just play the TTRPG music, but I'm like, what is like just normal streamer music? I don't fucking know anymore because I haven't streamed in like 5 years. The entire score of Interstellar. Yeah, exactly. That's like, that's not exactly what we're looking to put up here. Oh, yeah, and then you don't have to put it on the VOD. That's true. The Bloodline soundtrack. The Bloodline soundtrack is really good. Also, by the way, I don't think any of you may or may not be. There's several folks who have DM'd me on Instagram asking for storyteller stuff for Vampire the Masquerade, and I'm like, y'all have asked some really good questions. I need to like go through my Instagram DMs and answer those questions because I want to give people the time. Like when people DM me on Instagram with like a long-winded like question about storytelling, I'm like, this is too much to type. Like with my nails and stuff, I'm like, this is too much to type. But I want to give you an answer. So maybe I will like do that at some point too, and share and like just send them a clip of like answering the question. So yes, so to anybody who has DM'd me questions about vampire storytelling, I would love to answer them. I just realized like an Instagram DM is not like my preferred place to answer them. Or yeah, like a little video response or something. Lysander Sim stream. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh my God. I had a Lysander Sims save that I was working on temporarily. I should get back into that. I also had a Stormlight Sims. My most recent Sims playthrough was the Stormlight Archives. I really want to do. This is a deep cut. My next is I want to do a Warhammer Sims with Inquisitor Greyfax and Saint Celestine. This is just Tracy living out her little like ships in The Sims. But the Stormlight Sims was so good. Oh my God, I need to record those. I made a bunch of Stormlight Archives characters in The Sims and streamed it for some of the Magi crew, and that was a fun time. I can't talk about what happened because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read the Stormlight Archives, or who is going to read it. I don't want to spoil. When do you have the time? That is the question. Yes, Expedition 33, Clair Obscur. I recommend. I have not played it myself, but I have watched most of my friend Craigham's. He played through it on his stream. And the story was amazing. Is amazing. Yes. And I myself probably won't play it, but I am so glad I got to watch his playthrough of it. So I would recommend it for anybody to at least, if you're like, I'm not into this style of like JRPG, like watch a stream or somebody's Let's Play of it, because the story is very, very good. The prologue will give you tears. The prologue will suck you in, I feel. So that's like, I had no interest, and then like I watched Craigham's play through the prologue, and I was like, what the like, this game is amazing. I need to know what happens. So yeah, it's very, yeah, the prologue had me in tears also. We were cutting onions. And then yeah, the musicians, I know the ones who did the score for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, they're like, this is their first big score, and they nailed it, and it's so emotional, and what the fuck? Oh, so good. Yeah. Stay tuned for more Stormlight stuff, by the way, guys. I would love to have a little yap session with my Stormlight friends at Magi. We'll talk about it. And there's a Cosmere RPG coming out. That's all I'm saying there. That's all I am going to say. Wayward, when I finish Stormlight, I can tell you I'm going to read the Red Rising books. That's my next series to get into after Yap only, no music. That's the two people consensus there. So we're going to go with that. I'm fine with that. Okay, so gang, we're going to call it because we're about at that hour and a half mark. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out and having a little talk, having a little hangout. To many of my cool friends in chat, you guys are awesome for hanging out. This is so low-key. I posted about it obviously earlier that I was doing it, but I remember in the old streaming days, I would want to put that pressure on myself to be going live and making those posts about it, which I do think is important. If you're really if you're trying to go all in, and if that's something you're putting that you're setting that goal for yourself, you should do all that marketing and promotion for yourself and your brand. But me, I was I'm taking that pressure off. I'm gonna just I made a post about it, and that's about it. So yep, that's that. I will say, when the next one of these is going to be, probably 2 weeks from now on Wednesday. And Wednesdays are usually my day because Tuesdays we have Midnight Recall, Fridays we have Ashes of the Lost, Monday I play on Bub's channel, and Saturday I play Pod by Night. So Wednesdays are my day. And next Wednesday, I'm doing something a little different. We're going to do some another Warhammer lore talk with Chris, a.k.a. Stormbeard. We are going to actually go all in on our Warhammer talks. I knew, Alex, you're going to be excited about it. We're going to do a series where we talk about the Primarchs. And we're starting from number 1 next week. We're going with number 1, Lionel Johnson, and we're going down the line. 1, 2, 3, well, not number 2, because there is no number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 20. And so we're going to go through all the Primarchs and their chapters. So I'm very excited to talk about all of that, especially the Lionel Johnson, because I do like the Dark Angels a lot. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. So we're going to do that next Wednesday. And that's another thing that I may just kind of alternate between that and office hours stuff. So more details on that in the coming days. Vulcan, I know Vulcan's probably I think he's toward the end, right? He's one of the later numbers. So you'll have to wait a long time for Vulcan, Craig, because we're going through all 20. Or, whichever ones are not actually, Primarchs. Because there's a couple that aren't there. I had to be corrected by Chris. I remember when you streamed The Witcher 3. Thanks, Reese. I know. Good times. Can't wait for The Witcher 4, everybody. You bet your ass when The Witcher 4 comes out. We'll be doing lots of stuff around The Witcher 4. So stay tuned for that. Bam. 18, I'm sorry. Yeah, 18, whatever. I know, Siri. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait for The Witcher 4. I'm going to cry. Okay, so that's that. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out and chatting. See you in the next one. See you this Friday, if you are planning to join us, this Friday is our penultimate of Ash of the Lost, Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory campaign. That's been a lot of fun. Then on Tuesday, we have Ignite Recall. That is our Scum and Villainy campaign, which has been also a lot of fun. Those are our two main shows that we have going on right now at MagiRPG, Tuesdays and Fridays. But more is coming. Some announcements. Penultimate is such a great word. I love saying penultimate episode. It's just such a fun word to say. So stay tuned for more stuff coming down the line. We have a couple of shows that are going to be announced in the next couple of weeks that are going to be happening in the next couple of months. So looking forward to that. And I am looking forward to talking more about World of Darkness storytelling because I'm deep in the throes of planning for future stuff. So I'd like to talk about my process because I've been trying some new things. I'm experimenting, guys. I'm experimenting with new storytelling techniques and planning methods. I'm using not Notion anymore, is all I'll say. I'm trying other ways to take notes. So we'll talk about it. I need you to do a V5 game. I know. I was going to do a V5 game at Los Angeles, Darkness Emerged in LA. And I had originally signed up. And then they asked me to do the Giovanni dinner and then the Succubus Club. And then they were like, hey, do you still want to do storytelling? That might be a lot. I'm like, yes, it might be a lot. I think I'm good. and so I decided not to. But if my schedule is less busy, I would like to do it at Atlanta. We'll see. Knowing me, my schedule will be fucking busy. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. We'll see you Friday or Tuesday or next Wednesday. Bye.